speaker, Travis S.
My name's Travis, I'm an addict. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Too loud?
Oh, you sound great.
All right. Just want to pause for a moment and just soak this up, right? Like, as I look out into the crowd, I realize that we have newcomers, people celebrating time, maybe somebody who's come back, maybe somebody who might be feeling like they don't belong, right? Or like, maybe this isn't the right fit for me, right? And when I first got here, I didn't feel like this was my crowd, right? I looked for every reason why this wasn't going to work for me, right? And if you're feeling like that, I want you to know, like, hold on to your seat, right? You're here for a reason. We get here how we get here. The tricky part is staying here, right? It is. And so, like, I remember thinking, like, man, I'm clean. My life's going to be so boring. What am I going to do? Right? Like, what do clean people do? And I was like smiling, just listening to people with all the announcements just pop up. It was almost like a competition. They were like, bah, 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 bah. And that's NA, right? If you don't think you're going to get a life here, think again. Because you're going to sell yourself short. And I know every time that I thought that I knew what I was going to do in life, as a result of coming to this program, working the steps, being of service, somehow or another, my life has gotten exponentially better as a result of sticking and staying. You know, and I'm grateful for the predecessors that were in my life that helped me get clean. You know, they would say things like, get busy living or get busy dying, right? What side of, don't sit too long on the middle of the fence because you're going to fall one way or another, right? And so I'm from the Bay Area. Me and my family, we moved up here 5 years ago. I got clean on the peninsula. I have a sponsor who has a sponsor. And my home group is the He Do Recover on Tuesday nights at 7:15. It's a men's meeting. And I feel at home there, right? And so if you don't have a home group, I suggest you get one. If you don't know what that is, you can talk to me after. But it's just basically a meeting that you go to religiously, that you go to. You try to be of service. You make friends. You get into the mix. And you let down this wall, right? This wall we carry sometimes of, I don't want you to see me. If you saw how I am, you might think a certain way about me. And for me, what that is that's my disease trying to separate and isolate me from you. Because, my sponsor always says, and I say it too, my favorite song is I'm Always on My Mind. And if I'm always thinking about me, how can I be of service to you, right? And this program's got a whole bunch of paradoxes, right? You can only keep what you have by giving it away. Right? So what that means is, like, if I want to stay here and be here, what I've learned here, I have to freely give it to you, right? And that steel sharpens steel kind of thing, right? We just kind of help each other grow through this process. Like, we're not doing this alone. None of this is happening by myself, right? There's a power greater than myself working in this room. Whether or not you believe in a power greater than yourself, like, I'm witnessing it in this room because we're all here for a single purpose, and that's for recovery, right? So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I love NA. Yeah, I grew up, I didn't know my father, so right away I had abandonment issues. Like, I wasn't good enough all of a sudden, and I looked for things outside of myself to make me feel like I was important enough to want to be loved or to be seen by other people. My mom did the best she could as a single mom with 2 kids, mental health issues, things of that nature. And what I heard here tonight and what I heard for the very first time when I came to a meeting of NA was that somebody shared my story and it wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I went to a meeting and I heard my story shared, and it wasn't me. And what that gave me permission to do was to be open and vulnerable. I heard somebody get up and share that they were molested. Well, that was me too, right? I was molested as a child. And when I first thought about even vocalizing that or like bringing that to the table, that was something I knew I'd bring to the grave with me. And what I heard when I got here too is we're only as sick as our secrets. Ooh. Right? And so like I want to be free. Like I don't want to carry any more of this, I don't know, anybody got some baggage you came in with? I pick up baggage as I go along and I gotta like, damn, my shoulders hurt. Let me put this down. Let me do some writing. Let me call my sponsor. Let me work with somebody else. Right? But you're going to hear your story here. It may not be tonight, but it's going to be in this room where you're going to be able to identify with somebody. It may not look like you, may not sound like you, but your story is here. And so know that you are valuable. Your story is valuable. What you bring to this fellowship is valuable. You are of service and a purpose to this fellowship, right? And so I didn't know what to do with that, right? I didn't know what to do with those feelings of being molested, not having a dad. And for me, football was a way to let all that anger out, right? And I thought like I was going to be an NFL football player. I clearly could be an NFL football player. You know, all the dope I smoked, all the cigarettes I smoked, the bad grades I got. And so I was delusional in the sense that I thought that I was going to be something that I wasn't, right? But I had those dreams and those aspirations, right? And when I got here, I didn't have any dreams or aspirations. I just wanted to get clean. I just wanted to stop hating how I felt and how I looked in the mirror. Like, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror for a long time. Like, the suggestion of, like, looking yourself in the eyes in the mirror and saying that you love yourself. I was like, really? Like, me? I know what I did in my disease. You know, I know the harm and the damage I created to people that love me in my disease. And how could I love me, right? And so one of my early sponsors said that love is something you can't give to yourself when you first get here. You have to let the arms of an NA hold you, pick you up, walk with you through this process. And it's doing those esteemable things where you'll start to gain self-esteem. And it could be as little as like going in the bathroom and seeing somebody left a piece of paper on the floor, right? Just pick it up, put it in the trash, right? You don't got to tell anybody, hey man, I just picked this one. No, just keep that, right? I was always looking for validation. Like when I was doing something, I don't know about you, but when I got clean, I wanted pats on the back. Come in here, get 30 days. People are clapping. I'm like, yes. Go out into the real world. I'm like, I got 30 days. I don't care if you got whatever. Like the real world doesn't necessarily care about that, but we do, right? Like that shit matters to me. Like the real world's not going to hold us to the same guidance and principles that we live by in here. You know, the love that is expressed in these rooms. You know, the amount of acceptance that is shown in these rooms. And the willingness to be of service and help at any time of the day or night, right? It doesn't really matter, right? And so I was doing the football thing and wanted to, I thought in my mind, well, I'm going to sell drugs so I can do drugs for free. And I don't know if anyone's done that, like thing where you think like I'm a drug dealer, but really I'm just selling to use and always running into like, I keep dipping into the stuff I should be selling kind of thing. And that finally caught up with me. And one night I got arrested by Redwood City's finest for, I think it was like 0.002 of a gram of meth. And I was bawling. I was like, oh man, I'm going to jail. But at this point, like, I had already contemplated like suicide, but I was too much of a coward. I don't know if anyone can relate to like driving in a place and you see like an opportunity to drive off the road and be like, that would definitely do it, and like have that thought. I've had those thoughts even clean in early recovery, thinking like, man, this would just be the easier, softer way, right? So I spent some time in jail and had to go to an outpatient treatment facility, and I don't know about you, but I couldn't understand me paying them $50 every week to go to outpatient treatment when I couldn't stay clean. And so I remember the first couple of meetings, the steps are on the board, and the counselor's going over the things, and did you go to a meeting? Yeah, I went to a meeting, I got this slip signed and whatnot. What step you working on? Did you get a sponsor? And in my mind, I'm hearing the word sponsor like for the first time. And I used to race bikes as a kid, and I knew what sponsors were. Sponsors gave you like money and entry fees and bikes and stuff like that. So I'm thinking like, damn, people get money here. Like, this is kind of cool. And so if you had that thought, and you're not alone, I've had that thought. And it was really easy for him to see like I was full of it. Like I hadn't been to any steps. I hadn't been to any meetings. I wasn't working any steps. Because one week I was on step 5 and the next week I was on 3. I didn't know they were in an order for a particular reason. I just kind of threw myself up that. And I remember going and getting a referral for a residential treatment program. Right? At this point, like, nobody wanted anything to do with me. This counselor was like, you need more help than I can give you. You just got to surrender to this thing. And how we pitched it, or how I heard it, was like, it's really chill, you're going to be able to sleep in, you're going to be fed. And how I like twisted this thing up in my mind was like, this was going to be like Club Med. Like, I get a vacation for 90 days. This is dope. And I remember going to the interview and having to go to a meeting the following week. And they said you had to be clean for 72 hours. But their waiting list was 7 weeks long. And I was like, well, I got time. And so I did what I did. And I was up for several days, and I shouldn't have been. And the next day, my grandfather and I had plans to go up to San Francisco to go to a museum, right? And he wants me to drive, and we're driving, right? And I could just feel it coming on. I'm like getting really tired. And my eyes are getting heavy, and I'm doing everything in my bag of tricks to keep me alive. And I'm praying to a God. It's usually like, God, help me get out of this one. God, help me find a parking spot. You know, whatever the service is, usually it's that type of God for me at that point. And I got the radio up, windows down, heater on, all the combinations of things we kind of do to help stay alert in those situations. And we get to the city, and I'm like, oh, finally, I got it. Get some food in me, come back down, same thing happens. And this time I close my eyes. And all I can feel is the road by Braille. I'm hitting the dots, right? And I hear a voice come over me that says, if you don't pull over, you're going to kill an innocent man. And at that moment, I was struck with tears rolling down my face. I pulled over to the side of over to the side of the road. I looked my grandfather in his eyes, and I said, I just can't. And he says, I know. And I didn't know it at that time, but that was my first spiritual awakening that I experienced in this program. And I don't know why I was graced with this moment, right? Like, I surrendered. My whole body surrendered in this moment, right? I woke up the next day, and I didn't go search it in the ashtray. I didn't go try to clean out the pipe. I got a cup of coffee, a cigarette. I went outside, and I heard something for the first time in a long time. Those were birds. Just birds outside. And there was a soft breeze that hit my face, and just tears just rolled down my eyes, right? And I want to say, like, that was it. Like, I'm cured. It's not it, right? So I got into this 90-day treatment program, and I realized I had a lot of work to do, right? And so I didn't want to leave. You know, it was a 90-day program, and I volunteered to be a house manager. And I don't know about you, but like the first 60 days of my recovery, I wasn't sure. I just wanted to get off of probation. I didn't want to go to prison, and I just wanted to get off of probation. And around day 60, something happened. Like, I think I finally got honest. I finally cracked. I surrendered to this process of like, being restored all the way. And I didn't even think I wanted like to be restored back to me. I just knew there was a better version of what I was out there, right? And so, I had searched for a while. Like, I remember before I even got into treatment, got clean, like I got robbed at gunpoint in the drive-thru at Taco Bell when I lived in Las Vegas. And I remember my head's leaking, whole thing went white, and I come up to the window, and the guy's like, 1028. I'm all, what do you mean 1020? I'm like, can you call the cops? They're like, what's going on? I just got either shot or I just got robbed. And I remember being in Las Vegas feeling so isolated and alone, like, and I didn't know NA existed. I didn't know this existed. I went to church after church after church, and I searched. I searched for the feeling that I get here, right? And I didn't know it. And being like kind of newer to the Portland area of NA, like you can go to, I'm never alone. We are never alone. Whatever city you are at, you can plug in immediately. Like you can walk. I remember feeling so nervous walking into my first meeting here. Like, because I hadn't been to meetings in a while, right? And I got hugs. I got embraced. I got, you're welcome to be here. You want some coffee? I've never seen you. What's your name? Right? I didn't get that when I was looking for that in churches. No, like nothing against that component, but I'm just saying this is where I found a higher power. Was here, right? And so I loved meetings. I was like Captain NA, recovery guy, just on a pink cloud everywhere I went. I worked at this treatment program, and I got to drive residents to meetings, and we'd stop and get, rock stars and cigarettes and go early and stay late and all that good stuff. And one of my coworkers at the time had suggested, like, man, like, why don't you go back to school? You're so smart. And I was like, nah, man, not me. I can't do that. Like, I'm dyslexic. I'm definitely not smart. Like, one of the biggest things I had to do was like read the same reading over and over and over and over. I'd get up in front and just like I'd pick the same reading at every meeting until I got that right, because I was so full of fear and judgment. Like, you're going to judge, you're going to laugh. Because I remember in second grade reading a story, and I was reading words that weren't there, and the whole class laughed, and I never read out loud again. Ever. I just couldn't. And so here you guys give suggestions. Do these small things, right? And that was one of those things that helped build my self-esteem, my confidence, that gave me those tools to kind of move forward and push forward in life. And sometimes you need people around you who see things clearer than you do to give you that push forward. And so he pushed me forward. He says, why don't you try school? You talk a good game and all this other stuff. Why don't you just take speech? I was like, how hard could that be? Went back to school, went to college, got my first A, my first academic A. And I was like, wow, really? Only A's I ever got were in football and PE. Truth. And I took that and I rolled with it. And lo and behold, like, it's funny when you apply the principles of the program by doing the work, right? We teach you accountability, responsibility, honesty, open-mindedness, willingness. The big thing, asking for help, right? Like, when I read some of this stuff in school, like, what is being read and how it translates into my brain and what it means are two different things. So like asking a counselor, like, hey, like I'm having trouble grasping when I'm reading what it's saying and how I'm supposed to implement it. Oh, we got a program for that. And see, that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have the humility to ask for help. And that's one of my biggest assets, is the ability to ask for help. Because the moment that I stripped away my ego, said, I don't need this, I don't need that, I could do it on my own, and I started letting other people help guide me through this thing called life, the world kind of opened up, right? And things were available that I didn't know was available before. So I graduated college, honor roll, straight A student, honors, all that good stuff. Started working for the county of San Mateo as a drug and alcohol case manager. And by this time I was probably like, I don't know, 8-9 years clean, got a new car. I was like, this is the life. I thought like, I'm gonna work at the county and I'm gonna retire and this is great, right? And then God had a different plan for me, right? My best friend who helped me get into that job was also working at the county. And he had gotten married, but his wife's visa expired, and she was going to go back to Mexico. And we had gotten news that we were going to be losing somebody from our department, and all signs pointed to last one in, first one out, and that was my friend Matt. And this is a guy who helped me. You know, he would read my papers, make corrections, and say, you know, I would do this, right? And so as a result of him pushing me along and helping me in school, like I got this job, right? And then he got that job. And so I was getting my hair cut, and I thought about my grandfather who was in that car with me, who had passed, right? And he owned a salon. My grandmother worked in that business, my aunt, my mother. And here I was, just getting my hair cut, and I love the barber shop. Love it. The feeling fresh, the bullshit, the real talk, you know, the sad stuff. And I just said, this is it. I'm supposed to become a barber, right? Like goosebumps everywhere. I was like, I'm not even making this decision for myself. It was like God came in and said, boom. So I went back, volunteered my position to be laid off, and became a barber. And in that process, like, I met my wife, who's also one of us, in the rooms. I remember coming up to her, and I don't remember this, but I believe her because she's got a great memory. I used to be a big flirt. And so I saw her in the meeting. I came up to her and I hugged her, and I told her she smelled delicious. And apparently not in a creepy way, because you know, that could go really wrong, right? You know? And so as a result of like having to do some work on myself, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I've messed up a lot of relationships, and I've put a lot of stock in how I think other people should treat me in a relationship. And it wasn't until I really examined myself and said, like, this is what I deserve in a relationship. Like, and if these are the things that I deserve, and these things are things I don't deserve, and if some of these things I don't deserve show up, I'm out quick, right? And so working on myself, working on relationships, everything is like a relationship as it is. We got married, right? We tried to have a kid. We lost that kid early stage. And then we got pregnant again, and then we were having twins. And we're like, oh man, see, God's blessing us with the one we lost, right? And, you know, in that pregnancy, during birth, we lost one of those twins, right? And, you know, our surviving daughter was in the NICU for 8 weeks, right? And this was the only time I've ever experienced in my life where I can feel grief and hope at the exact same time, right? And I didn't know what to do. I called my sponsor. Right away, and I said, Eddie, I said, she's gone. Phoenix is gone. And I don't know what to do. I don't know where to put these feelings. I said, Emerson is fighting for her life. Dana's, I was just shocked, right? And you know what this program did? This program put their arms around us. They put their arms around our family with prayer, with food, to the hospital. Like, you guys showed up. Like, just because it didn't happen here, like, we are a part of the same fellowship, regardless of wherever we go in the world. Like, this is who we are as a fellowship. We show up for our members, man. Like, this is it. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to navigate that. I just held on. You know, and then I had to go back to work 2 weeks later while my daughter's still in the hospital. I'm showing up at the barbershop, and people are like, hey, how are the girls? And I'm like, having to go through this trauma over and over and over again, just holding it, get off of work and cry for 15 minutes in my car, head back up to the city just to go support my wife and my daughter. And for a long time, man, I just kind of like pushed God out the way. right? And then on the other side, I'd see my daughter make all these leaps and bounds because based on her brain injury, she said, like, you can expect your daughter won't be able to feed or clothe herself. She won't be able to show any true signs of emotion, right? And like 3 days into this, right, they tell us, like, if you want to let her pass naturally, that's okay, after having lost a daughter. And like I said, like, look, like, I can't believe you're saying this, but like, if she decides she wants to go, we're gonna let her make that decision, right? And so I'm here to tell you today that my daughter can feed, clothe herself, shows all signs of emotion, true signs of emotion, says she loves me. She has challenges, but she's a fighter, right? And if I've ever doubted that there's a God working in her life or my life, I just gotta look at her, right? If I wanna get real grateful for my life, I just look for those things, right? I acknowledge the time, Roger. So we got through that, right? You know, there's still moments of grief. There's still, you know, acknowledgments of the loss of that daughter. Like, I don't think I'll ever be the same. There's still a piece of me that is missing. You know, we had another son as a result of some late night action that wasn't intentional. And I'm grateful for him too, right? Like, he gives me different sets of challenges being a parent and recovery and learning a whole new way how to navigate life. And this program has afforded me the opportunity to give grace, but also to receive grace, right? Because now as a parent, I get to see where, yeah, my mom did her best, right? And she wasn't, you know, all these things I made up in my mind about how I should have been raised, right? But as a single mom doing her best, who has mental health issues. When I was 16, she tried to commit suicide, was hospitalized for a month. And so, like, she's got her stuff, right? And just like that, like, I realized that me getting clean, I get to break the cycle, right? It's not perfect, right? It's never going to be perfect. We're not going to be perfect, right? We just continue to push forward, and when we make mistakes, we try to correct those, right? If they just keep happening again and again, like, you got to do some work around that. And today, I am grateful, right? I owned that barbershop for a while, and I sold it last 2 years ago. But for 4 years, I was traveling back and forth from Portland back to the Bay Area. Every 10 days, I would travel back to the Bay Area, cut hair for 5 days, and come back home, right? And we did that to get more time with the family. Like, when we lived in the Bay Area, we sat down and we looked on how much time we get to spend together as a family. In the course of a year, it was 2,100 hours, right? Moving here, it affords us 4,700 hours of family time. And so when I was not working when I lived here, like, I just was 100% dad. I would just pick up the pieces. And so, like, I sold that business and started working here, right? And it's only been until recently, this beginning of this year, like, where I started feeling comfortable or at home. Because there's, like, all these things that still kind of play in the back of my mind, like, oh, it's not this or it's not that. It's a little different like this and whatever. But that's just my disease, kind of, again, trying to separate me from sinking all the way in. And one thing about this program, what this program has taught me, it's taught me to take the 2-foot drop, right? If you don't know what the 2-foot drop is, it's when your mind is going. If you could take that 2-foot drop to your heart and just kind of center there, because it's about 2 feet from your head to your heart, and just rest in there. Things I try to do on a daily is read something from the NA literature every day, pray, and meditate. It's not always perfect. Sometimes, like, my daughter will get up, things happen, life moves quick, and if that doesn't happen in that moment, at the time I want it to happen, like, I give myself grace, and I'll pick it up at another time, right? But I know when I need to stop what I'm doing and sit and breathe and allow God into this space. I was going to read something, but I'm out of time. I really appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for letting me be of service.